Hi.
What's up with the funny
came dressed for the occasion. I don't.
Y'all know.
I missed the memo. What was it supposed to say?
Baby, that work, work, family life, that flow. It is with the boundaries are blurred. I was just, I've been all afternoon with the baby. We playing bunny, we playing princess and prince. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on.
So. Walked in, I was like, you have this on your head, right?
I wanted y'all to get the real. I wanted y'all to get the very, very real.
Listen, we appreciate you keeping it very, very real. Thank you. So I want to talk about how real it's been, because we're all in quarantine. We've all been figuring this out. We all have the family, the Zooms, the social distancing, the like I said, the quarantining, the shelter in place, all these words that we had never thought would become part of our everyday vernacular. It's kind of crazy. And so you guys have turned something else into that with this love in the time of Corona. And you're married. So I want to know how this project came about. You also EPs on it. I want to know how this project came about. I want to hear all the good stuff, all the juice.
Well, Freeform is known for running to the front of the line to tell stories about contemporary American life. And I've made it no secret that, both of us, I'm super interested in telling stories, certainly about contemporary Black American life. So they came to us with the idea. They had the world already. Thank you. She said, I love Leslie Bunny years. Thank you, baby. They came to us. They had the world of the show already, but they had a very different idea of the characters we might play. They pitched us like a couple who had just met online and was sort of like finding their way to each other with wobbly knees. And we said to them, if you guys are open to it, we would love to be a part of the show, but we want to use more of our own experience, the relationship that the history that we have, the 12 years that we put in, what this experience is like in a long-term relationship in quarantine, and just using some of the details of our lives. And also, it was really important to us. You guys don't understand this. I mean, as Black artists, our work is inherently political always. Maybe there'll come a day where it doesn't have to be. But as a Black artist, either you're making work about politics, but even if you're not, the fact that you're not is your statement on the matter. So if you're making work at this time that doesn't speak to what's happening in the streets, that says as much about you as making a project that's about the movement. So we just told them that, there's really also no way for us to see our way to signing on if we're not really
speaking to the moment
and this movement that's happening in the streets. And thank God Joanna was like, we would love to figure out a way to do that. Freeform was like, yes. And so it deals with this couple, James and Sade, who there's the stuff that they have at home, just like interpersonal relationship stuff. And then the same way it happened to everybody else, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, these moments are happening in the street, and it affects this dynamic too. And it changes what we're talking about and how we're processing, on top of the trauma of Corona. That's what we were able to bring as executive producers, and we're really proud of it.
Yeah, it's good stuff, and thank you for being timely and certainly saying, yes, I want to be a part of this. However, these are the parameters, and because I think it's important, to especially if you have a position of power, to really implement that and make sure it's done right, so that it covers what's happening, because this is what we're living in. So so I applaud you for that. So now you guys are married in real life. I want to know how much of the character of James and Sade is real, because I watched a couple episodes last night, and there was a moment, and I'm married too. So I've been married for 18 years.
Okay.
And, you know, living in this time of Corona, there's certainly, you know, there's some challenges, you know, as a couple in relationships. And there was a moment where James was going out to the grocery store. And Shantae gave him a list, and he didn't turn the other side over. I hate to say it, but I'm married, so I guess I can. But, you know.
Hasn't that happened to you?
I mean,
Hasn't that happened? I mean, that was a piece of real life right there. That actually happened with us. You know, there were definitely a bunch of little sprinkles of our real life mixed into the script and the storyline, because we were really, it was a very collaborative process, but we were really involved in the creation of our storyline. And so we wanted to speak to, you know, both the deep parts about what's going on in the world and in life, but also to just like the little interesting moments that happen in a relationship in this time. And so, yeah, there really was a time where Les went to the market, and that's usually my job. And he was like, I got this, it's fine. And I wrote a whole list out, and he came home and he was missing like 2 really important things that I needed. And he was like, you didn't put that on the list.
It was so annoying because, like, you know, I knew, I was like, I got everything on her list. I put checks next to everything. I was like, I did it perfectly. If I didn't get it, it was only because they didn't have it. I was about to take pictures of the shelves. Like, I know you asked for that cereal, but they did not have that cereal.
And I was like, what about this thing? And he said, you didn't put that on the list. Oh, really? And he hadn't turned the list over.
I hadn't turned the list over.
So yeah, there are definitely little quirks in the storyline.
Can I tell you, now I'm turning every piece of paper over. I'm looking around it, under it. I'm looking at what she erased. I'm like, I'm getting everything on that list. Everything on that.
Well, I'll tell you this, Leslie. We do have, I'll tell you a little secret, but you can't tell anyone.
All right.
We do have an expectation that you're not going to get everything right.
That's for sure.
And
Just know that.
And I will tell you a secret. We know that you think these things of us, which is what we were trying to prove you wrong at every turn. Ooh, I'm trying.
But the other secret is that we just pray that one day they will prove us wrong.
I know.
One day they will.
One day I will. Keep hope alive.
One day.
Keep hope alive, Black women.
Okay.
Don't give up.
We're gonna try. We're gonna try. But you know, it's so interesting because in this series, and this is a two-part series, so it's gonna happen August 22nd and August 23rd. So you guys got to make sure you tune in on Freeform. You know, I love the different dynamics and how you guys tackle so many different relationships. You know, you have the college student that's coming home, and I don't have a college student, but I can imagine what that is like. You know, you have, we probably have kids who are home working, you know, doing online school, the remote learning, which is a whole nother thing. And then you have your friendships that are going on. And then of course you have your dating. And I wonder, you know, I have friends who are dating or who are single, and, you know, trying to figure that out, trying to figure out love in the time of Corona. I mean, the challenges, honestly, that come with that come with being single as well as being married.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we loved about it. You know, it felt like Freeform and Joanna, what they wanted to do was to turn the mirror toward all of us and say, yes, there's been pain, yes, there's been angst, yes, there's been grief, there still is, but look at the mirror. Hasn't there also been joy? Hasn't there been connection? Hasn't there been, you know, the thing, I think, you know, we're vulnerable in a different way. Everybody's tender right now. You know what I mean? Like, our nerves are exposed, you know, and that vulnerability it's affecting every relationship that I have, not just this. You know, my friendships we're speaking more openly and more honestly with one another. And that's reflected in the show, but more importantly, it's reflected in our lives. You know, I think that after this is all over, that's really our charge is to keep those lines of communication open, is to make sure they stay as honest. What, we gonna start lying to each other again? It's really about it. Since things have been broken open in a way, that I'm a man of faith, and I believe that things that were even designed for to destroy you can be turned around, and can be a turning point for you. And I've felt that in my life, and this can be that for us. This thing that happens only once every 100 years can be a thing for us, where it's like, wow, do you remember who we were before this? And look what we turned that into. Look how much richer our lives are now after having gone through that. Look how much more connected we are. How
we're
much better
striving for connection and honesty, and also just being more present. I feel like it'll be so interesting coming out of this time to see how more we appreciate the present moment and try not to take things for granted.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I said early on, I said, God has a way of, you guys got blurry. What happened? You're blurry on me now.
We'll come back.
Yeah. Looks clear over here.
Looks clear over there? Okay. All right. I'm sure they'll tell us in the comments, because they always like to tell us everything in the comments. God has a way of showing us and giving us, what we need. And I said, my husband and I have talked about this, and talked about, what is all this about? I mean, it's the pandemic, and it's something else. It's social injustice, and it's, this year started out, and obviously it was a tough year to begin with, and it has continued to be that. But what does all this mean, and what are we taking out of this, and how are we going to be different, and not be the same person that we were back in February or back in January in 2019? What does all this mean? It's definitely there are a lot of lessons here, and I just hope that we all do what we need to do to be better people, because I don't see how we could go backwards. Honestly, it's been so much that has changed us and changed our lives, and we've had to pivot and and figure other things out, figure other ways to even make a living. You guys are obviously actors, and you both star on Broadway. Recently the Rockettes canceled their whole Christmas spectacular. Broadway has been shut down. I mean, what does that feel like for you? Do you think that Broadway will come back differently? Do you think there'll be maybe streaming opportunities or something like that?
I'm sure things will pivot and change and shift. But yeah, there's always a piece of us in New York. We have so much community there and so much of our heart there. We're there at least like every few months, whether it's for work or just to see theater and to go support our community. So yeah, I mean, so many of our friends are all in Broadway shows that have been put on hold. So it's
painful.
It's painful.
But we're going to creators create, man. And I'm seeing innovation. I'm seeing creativity from my community, people that are trying to figure this thing out, and it's going to 100%. You're gonna see people expanding the form and pushing themselves farther than they've pushed themselves before, to not only to survive, to make a living, but also to reach the audience, to reach their hearts. That's what we do. Artists, we're weirdos in that way. That's what we do. It's how we process trauma. It's how we process our grief. It's how we celebrate. And so that ain't never going to change. Look at all these, the parties that have happened on Instagram Live, the DJs, you know what I mean? Like, it's like we're gonna keep reaching for the light. We're gonna keep reaching for the light. That's what this show is. And
and you just hope that people, in this wave that we've been having a lot of conversations about more representation and more diversity and more just telling of stories that reflect what a country actually looks like. So I just hope that this challenges creatives and people in this business to push themselves to reach further, like you were saying, you know, just not go backwards. You don't need to go anywhere close to what it looked like before.
Absolutely.
Really on a path. You know?
We have to go forward. So I want to talk about how, because we are in a quarantine, we are in a time of Corona, and I read that this show was filmed using remote technologies. How did that work?
Well, we shot it in our house, which was one interesting experience for sure. I mean,
everybody was tested before. It was a small crew, but everybody had to get tested. And we production was delayed because we were waiting to get the results back for a few people. But everybody was negative.
No one was allowed in our house. So when they say it was remote, like the cameras were run robotically by our DP, our directors, and everybody. They were in their own little individual tents outside of our homes, directing us and talking to us through walkie-talkie in the house. So,
wow.
And the only person who was actually allowed in our house was my sister, who's in our quarantine, who is actually a licensed therapist and has nothing to do with this business, but they hired her to be on headset and like move the camera for them and run the slate. And it was just an all hands on deck sort of situation.
They offered her a job the next week. They were like, we're shooting something else. Do you want to keep working?
I know.
Did she take it?
She didn't take it. She's got our clients. She's got like
she thought about it.
Yeah.
She thought about it.
Listen, by any means necessary.
Yeah.
So how did auditions work? Did anyone have to audition for this? I mean, was it done through Zoom, or how did that work out?
No, this was, you know, we've thank goodness, you know, I mean, auditions really are before there's any kind of context to your work. People don't know who you are, you know, but thank goodness, you know, we've done enough. There's enough of the stuff out there for us now that you know, we still audition, you know, every now and again, but
this one came as an offer.
Yeah, some things just come. People want to work with us, and this was a special thing, obviously, because, you know, you go on a short list because they knew in order for them to get this thing done, it had to be two performers living together. So whether they were roommates or whether they were married, you know, or a family, like it had to be a family of performers in order to make this very specific thing work. So
right. So that's what I was thinking. So everyone that's a part of the show is a family?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, roommates. There's a pair of roommates, and there's a pair of
there's a pair of roommates.
Trio of family.
There's a family, a mother, a father, and a daughter, and then a pair of roommates, the mother, and then there's one that they're not married, but their story is what other people are living. Like when you have it's an older couple. It's my parents, and my father.
Those are your parents?
No. His character.
Oh.
My father is in a nursing home, and so my mother's not allowed to visit him anyway, so they have to visit through glass.
Yeah.
So they were the only.
Okay. That was you know, I don't want to give too much away because I really do want people to tune in, but I have to tell you that moment with the nursing home and the mom, that was such a tender moment for me. And, you know, I was like, oh gosh, because it's so real. You know, you can't go visit your loved ones in nursing homes, and, you know, and people have lost their jobs and need to go back home and live with their families. And you know, it's there are definitely some, you know, it's very real, and there's some funny elements, but there's some elements that just hit home, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, so listen, you guys, let me just say this. I was watching something on, I don't know what it was, YouTube or something or another last night, and I saw that that you guys were singing. You were singing "Stay" by Rihanna. Oh, let me just say, first of all, and I, you know, if you want to sing, you can, and no pressure. But but I was like,
Nicolette sings on the show. Nicolette sings on the show.
I was going to ask, is there any singing?
Yeah, I get to sing a little bit on, I think it's episode 3, I think. One of my best friends Katie Bowick wrote a verse for my character to be writing in the show, which was nice. But yeah, that Stay video, that's from like, what, 10 years ago or something.
I know, but what was that for? Were you guys just like doing it home, like singing? Like, what were you doing?
Yeah, I think that video on YouTube, I mean, we sing so much together now. I mean, we collaborate on a bunch of stuff, but that particular video was shot on set for a show that he was working on at that time. We were just in the dressing room and just decided to
hit chord.
Yeah.
Do you have like singing battles?
Battles, no.
Definitely not. No.
Do you sing at home? Do you walk around the house singing at home?
A little bit, not often. I mean, a lot of people ask, "Do you guys just break into song together?" But no, I mean, there's like a couple songs, out of all the songs that, like, if one of us hear the other one singing, we'll join in. But we sing a lot with our daughter. I mean, she loves music, and we sing. I sing to her every night before she goes to bed since she was born. And
I love it. That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing.
Does she sing?
Hearing Nicolette sing.
I think so. She's
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
in ears, she's definitely showing that she might have a little bit of a performer bone in her body. So.
I'm sorry, Leslie, you were saying that hearing Nicolette sing is your favorite thing?
Oh man, I love it. I love living with a. I mean, I remember. I so remember before we were together. You know, Nicolette and I met in a show, and we were backstage in between performances. And okay, so this is so you know how parents tell that story about how, you know, my baby was singing in the back seat of the car and I thought it was the radio. I thought that was I've always thought that was so stupid, because it's like you thought an a cappella song on the radio was like, you thought that they were playing an a cappella version of My Girls. I'm like, what do you mean? It's so dumb. So anyway, so I'm backstage. We're in between shows, and it's very quiet. And there was something that was just so pleasant and beautiful. I was sure it was the radio. Like, I was sure somebody was listening to the radio, you know? And so she didn't even see me. I walked by her room, and she's like in her mirror putting on her makeup, right? And I walked by and I was like, and I just took a couple steps back and I was like, is that girl? Like, and I kept walking. But it like locked in my memory. It's like, oh my God, her voice, it was just, I had that moment where I was sure she was the radio. So anyway, the fact that I get to hear her singing to our daughter every night, you know, while she goes to bed, like the purity and beauty of that is like, I'm grateful for it every single night.
Wow, that's beautiful. You both have beautiful voices. And so those of you who are listening, I'm sure you guys have seen them. But if you haven't, and Leslie's putting back on his rabbit ears, if you haven't seen this YouTube video, there are many, but just Google them. This stay is ridiculous. It really is, honestly. All right, so I know you guys gotta go, but before you go, I like to play a round of random questions with my guests. So be honest, and I've never interviewed couples, so this should be fun. Okay. Okay, so best quarantine meal and who made it?
Ooh, I mean, he's made all the meals. I'll be honest about that. You've made all the meals.
All right.
You've made all the best meals.
Thank you.
I'm expert at eating up frozen pizzas, but this one with the bunny ears.
What's the best one?
I think my favorite is your mushroom sliders.
Oh.
He's really kind of dappled in vegetarian cooking
and
here
vegan,
and there,
yeah,
and vegan, and he made these really good like Asian mushroom sliders.
Spicy, yeah. I can make those for you again.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you.
Sounds like a date. All right, pick one: salted buttered popcorn or sweet caramel popcorn.
Oof. Salted butter, easy on the salt. Like I want butter. I want just butter. Oof.
Nicolette, same for you?
Yeah, same. Every once in a while, I could definitely go for the sweet caramel. But
yeah, I mean, yeah.
But on the regular, just salt and butter. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who scratches whose back?
Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. I scratch your back. You scratch my back?
I beg this man to give me massages sometimes when my body is just killing me.
Yes.
He rolls his eyes so hard.
Because I love giving massages. I don't like giving them on command. Like, I want.
You sound like my husband. Leslie.
Yes,
Come on.
I love
He
giving
uses
a
it as
massage.
bargaining tools.
When
We're
I-
gonna
when
keep
I
this
feel
family.
it, like
We're
when
gonna
I
keep this
feel-
family friendly, but when he wants something, he's like, "I'll give you a
Yeah, I don't want to be. You know, I'm not a masseuse. Like this ain't my gig. Like I want to, because she was. You know, she's like she wants to like put me to work. Like I want a 40-minute massage. And I'm like, I need you to break me off. Like I need you to pay me if I'm not in the mood. You know, but when I'm in the mood, I love it. I love it.
Listen, my husband's on here talking about preach. You better get off of here. No, listen. When I ask him for a massage, he gives me a rub. I'm like, what the heck is a rub? Like,
That is like, that's not what my head was. You trying to massage? Like, you better call somebody.
Call somebody in quarantine to come and massage.
Oh gosh. Oh boy. Nicolette, I feel you, girl.
We're together. We're together.
Okay. Would you rather have a booger in your nose or food in your teeth?
Food in my teeth.
Food in my teeth. Yeah.
All right, last thing. Finish the sentence, each of you. If I knew then what I know now, I would have.
If I knew then what I know now.
I would have trusted.
I would have started saving even sooner. I mean, this has given us all a real object. Like, thank God. I mean, we have somebody that helps us save our money. She's been so adamant about that, and we have done okay. You know, we've done okay. But look at our generation. I mean, you know, my grandmother used to talk to me about saving and stuff too. And you know, my grandma was able to. She worked in a hospital, you know, for her whole life. My grandfather worked in a factory, and they were able to save and get themselves a little piece of property. But I mean, they really understood the value of saving. This experience has taught us in a way, right? I mean, that our generation is like, we don't need no more lesson in this of just like, okay, what am I prioritizing with my dough? Like, am I really saving for the rainy day? Because it's raining. It's raining out there.
Hard.
You know, so I would have started saving even sooner.
Those are both really good ones. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks, Leslie. Thank you. You guys continue to stay safe and well. And everyone who is tuning in, please tune in to Love in the Time of Corona, which will be on Freeform on Saturday, August 22nd and Sunday, August 23rd at 8 p.m. Thanks, guys. You stay well.
That'd be good.
Good to see you. Bye.